Hi everyone, so I'm doing another story time today, and this is about the time that my son had the flu. His doctor said, no, he doesn't, there's no possible way, and I said, please test him for the flu, and he had the flu. Now, how does that happen? How does a doctor say there's no way your son has the flu, and he does? Enter homeopathy. So I am going to link below to a blog post and a related video that gives you a long list of remedies that can help with flu-like symptoms, colds, etc. I'm interrupting this story to show you the blog because I think you're going to find that this is probably the most extensive blog post for cold and flu natural remedies because I cover so many different modalities. So take a look here. You can scroll down to preventing a cold or flu. So there's some suggestions there. And then if you actually have a cold or flu, here it describes how to take the items that are listed, and then these are the lists. So these are lists of homeopathic remedies that can help for your specific symptoms of the flu. You would read this and pick the ones that work the most or that match your symptoms the most, and then you can look at the supplements and herbs that are recommended, and you can take multiple of these. And then essential oils, how to choose an essential oils, which ones I recommend. I recommend some combos. I also recommend some singles here. And then cell salts. This is one that's not talked about very frequently. And these can be very helpful. They're almost like homeopathic supplements because they're more of a physical dose of the minerals. And so you can take a look here on which cell salts would be helpful for when you have the flu or a cold. But today I'm just talking about one remedy just because it's the one that I used in this story. It's more of a story time about homeopathy in general. So this was long before I really understood what homeopathy was, and by the way, this remedy is called oscillococcinum. You can get it at local health food stores, and I think even some drugstores carry it, and definitely Amazon. I didn't really understand what homeopathy was at the time. I still thought it was just sort of a blanket term for everything like herbs and supplements and everything, but I didn't realize it was this. I had gotten advice from a doctor, like an alternative doctor, that the next time we have a flu in the house, I start giving everyone this remedy, along with zinc and vitamin C and some other things. And this was my son got really sick. This was the first time I had ever used this remedy. And I'm telling you, he was very sick. We were actually on a field trip. He was in kindergarten. He's now a senior in high school. So this was a long time ago. And this was long before I studied or practiced homeopathy. We were on a field trip. He literally just went down for the count. The guide was gracious enough to carry my son as he was giving us the tour. So sweet of him. And then I got home and I started this remedy and I started some other things. And I'm like, let me just see. Maybe this is just, I don't know, something. Maybe he just got exhausted out there. I let him lay on the couch and I gave him these things. So within a couple hours, I decided to bring him to the pediatrician. And I called and made an appointment and I got my son in the car and I'm driving to the pediatrician's office. And all of a sudden, just as suddenly as the flu came on, he popped up in the back seat in his car seat and he just was like lively and happy and seemed perfectly fine. And I was like, this is weird. And I almost turned around. He was so fine. I'm like, I'm going to look stupid walking in there, but something told me to go get a test done, find out exactly what it is so that I have answers over the weekend and stuff. So we get there and he's bouncing, they brought us into the room. He's bouncing around, just touching things like he normally did. And I was telling him, don't touch, sit down. Let's wait for the doctor. And the doctor walks in and she sees this and she's like, well, why are you here? And I said, he had the flu today or something. Like it seemed like the flu. And she's like, well, nobody looks like this when they have the flu. Kids don't walk in here like this. They're laid out. They can't even move. And I'm like, can you please check for the flu? I just had a strong feeling that's what he had. And she's just kind of looking at me. And I'm sure that she was thinking, I'm just going to do this to make this, helicopter mom go away or something. This paranoid mom. So she tested him. She came back in the room a few minutes later and she just was shaking her head and looking at me like she just had seen a ghost. And she's like, he has flu type A. And I'm like, I knew it. And she's like, well, I don't understand. And I said, I don't remember if I had the remedy in my purse or not, but I told her I'm giving him this remedy called oscillococcinum. And she just looked at me like, okay. She basically had no comment on that. I don't think she had ever heard of the remedy, even though it's sold over the counter. You would think that they would have at least heard of it before. But anyway, and I went home and we sort of went about our day. Now, here's where my naivety came in. I didn't know how to use homeopathy. I followed the instructions on the box, giving it like once an hour or something. I gave a vial every hour. The package comes with like 20 of these. But then I stopped when he seemed fine. I just stopped because I thought, oh, okay, it's over. Well, what I didn't understand is whenever symptoms start to come back, you give another dose. You don't just stop. And you know, even in the case of a flu, it's possible, something that strong, even if symptoms don't come back, it's probably good to dose it a few more times at least. That's not really the way homeopathy is supposed to work, but when there's something that strong as a flu, you probably want to give a few more doses, whether it's this or another remedy. Like I said, there are a lot of different remedies for the flu. Some of them are going to work better according to the particular symptoms that you're presenting. And so see my blog post in the description that will talk about all of the different remedies and pick the best one that fits your situation. I've definitely seen things reverse. And I do notice that the quicker you get to things, like actually right now, at this moment, I'm feeling a little bit of a like tickle in my throat. I've had to stop the video a few times and drink water. My son said the same thing last night. Luckily, today's Friday. We're going to get some rest. We're going to take some things. But, you know, whenever those type of things come up and you're like, what's going on there? Jump on a remedy that works, because that will help you to reverse it before it gets so big that it's harder to reverse it. And it takes many more doses and possibly many remedy changes. So the actual way that you're supposed to dose acute remedies for acute conditions is you give a dose, you watch it for a little while and see what happens. And then when symptoms come back, you give another dose, or if the symptoms come back differently, you change to a different remedy. So like I said, there are many remedies that can be good for flus and strong colds. And you may have to go back to the list several times and say, okay, the symptoms are kind of looking like this now, and I might need to change to this remedy. And that could be true over several days. Now, I find that if you change the remedy frequently, you're going to move through those sort of layers of symptoms more quickly. If you change the remedy maybe once a day or once every other day, it might take longer to move through the symptoms, but you will still get relief. If you are really interested in learning how to use remedy for acute conditions, I recommend going to my website. Again, the link will be below. Look for the free ebook link, and it will help you get started on using homeopathy in your home. I also have a class that you can look into. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found that story interesting. I always think it's pretty interesting when you blow someone's mind and they look at you like they've seen a ghost. They're completely confused. What you're presenting to them doesn't fit the mold at all, and they don't understand. Now, I wish that doctors were more open to asking questions such as, what did you give him? Where can I get that? You know, but I think that they are held to standards of care, and they are afraid to go against what they call the standard of care in mainstream medicine, because that kind of puts them out on a limb should anything strange happen. You know, it invites a lawsuit for them. So I can kind of understand why they don't do it, but I can tell you this. Doctors I've spoken to who know that I do homeopathy, that I practice homeopathy, they also know that I have a background in pharmaceutical sales. They tend to open up to me. They see me as maybe a bit of an insider, and they'll tell me the things that they do with their own families. A lot of them don't feel comfortable doing these things with their own patients. So it's important for us to find out this information, to join groups. You can join my Facebook group, by the way. It's called Wellness with Homeopathy. The link is below, because you'll get some anecdotes and you'll learn experiences that people have, and it'll help you just deal with some of the things that usually send you to the doctor, but you might be able to nip in the bud. So, all right, thanks for listening. If you want to learn more about me and my practice, I am at stephanienewton.homeopathy.com. I will see you next time.